Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my November 2018 reading stats. So, sorry, Cooper is on my lap. He's being cuddly because I've been in here in the office too long. Anyway, so I'm going to go through my list of things about my reading this past month. Again, it was nonfiction November in November, as well as I was doing NaNoWriMo. So I did a phenomenal job of reading and listening to audiobooks during November. I'm sure it's because I was trying not to think about my own novel. So this is kind of some of my bigger numbers than I've had in quite a while. So it's pretty cool. So let's just get into it. So in November, how many books did I finish? I finished 18 books. Now, I would say not all of those were novels. There was a couple, it was a big graphic novel. And then there was also a book that was just pictures of cats that were so cute. But it was still a book. But I finished 18 things. I think that's really awesome. That's one of my higher numbers of things actually completed in a month. How many of those books were physical? 11 of those books were physical. How many were audiobooks? 7 were audiobooks. So here's where the weird thing is. I had no rereads and I had no DNFs. It was just a weird, that's not normal for me. I finished everything that I started that month. I mean, there's a book that kind of there's 2 books that kind of hang out, which I forgot to write that in here. So 2 books kind of passed over into the next month. One book I'm currently reading, another book I've kind of put it aside because I kind of got tired of audiobooks. So I might go back and finish that one here pretty soon, or else I'll wait till next year. We'll see. So how many of those books were on my TBR, like I put in my video at beginning of November? And of the 8 books I said I was going to read, I think it was 8 or 9. I think it was 8 books. I think 6 of those I actually read. So only 2 of them I didn't get to. Can't get to everything. So number 8 is how many were from my shelf and how many were from the library. So I had 4 library books and so 4 library books that I read physically, and then I had 8 books that I read that I had physically, and then 7 were audiobooks that were library books as well as my own books. But one of these books kind of has a double count in the physical and audio. I had The Soul of the Octopus in 2 different categories. I had both. Anyway, so I did pretty good. Again, I read mostly my audiobooks and then a few of the books that I owned, and then I got a couple of library books that I added in there. So it was kind of a mixture month. How many books am I still currently reading? Oh, I do have this in here. Sorry, whoops. So as I said, I had 1 book that I'm currently reading, and then another book that I put aside kind of, even though I might come back to the audiobook. Number 10 is how many books did I buy this month? Yeah, I bought 27. And then here's the bad one. 11, how many did I read? I only started 1. The one that I'm still in the middle of currently reading. And then 24 were added to my TBR. So some of those books that I bought this month were rebuys. You know, I'd had a copy or I'd read it before. So 24 went to my TBR. Oh, Amy. Anyway, number 12 is number of pages I read. I read 3,947 pages, which comes out to an average of 127.3 pages a day. So this is a really good number for me. Again, as I said, my goal personally is to hit 50 pages per day on average for the month. So to be over 127 is really good. So it was a really good reading month. I knew it was when my numbers were getting over 100 pages a day. And again, that does help when you have an audiobook going in your car and then you're also coming home and reading when you're not writing, when I should have been writing sometimes, but I made it anyway. So, I did my star ratings, and it is pretty cool. There's nothing below a 3 star. So, but I added an extra line in here because I don't usually do the half, 4.5 or whatever. But this month I have to do it because some of them I put on Goodreads maybe 5, but really it was a 4.5. So I just want to split them up. So I had 4 5-star reads. I had 2 4.5 star reads. I had 8 4 stars and 4 3 stars. So it was a really good reading month overall. I should really maybe do an average to see how that came out, but I would say it was pretty close to, you know, a little bit over a 4. So it's really an awesome reading month. The genres I read 6 memoirs, 5 history, 3 natural. It has to do with nature. Yeah, nature, history. No, maybe not history. Nature books. I don't know. 1 paranormal romance. 2 books I would classify as kind of political. And then 1 book on cats. I didn't get the books out, so I'm sorry about that, because one of them I don't have. But I would say I have 3 favorite books that were of the 5-star reads that I wanted to talk about. Soul of the Octopus by Cy Montgomery was just so joyful. I so enjoyed that one. So that's why it's one of my favorite books of the month. But the 2 books that I would say really tie it up are Travel as a Political Act by Rick Steves and Draw Your Weapons by Sarah Santilles, I think that's how it's said. Anyway, those books were both very political. Again, I don't read a lot of political books, so it was really odd, but one's talking about, Rick Steves, of course, is talking about traveling and gave a lot of history of some countries I didn't know anything about and their political issues and how that affects how they are perceived and how they perceive the U.S. and people who travel and his experiences. And it was just a phenomenal read, and I really, really enjoyed that. And then Draw Your Weapons was also comparing war and art and also giving all these great details of other inventions and historical events and then current events. And it was a great mixture of just so many things that I know I'm going to have to reread that one so that I can catch all the details that I didn't catch the first time around. So again, those were just both phenomenal reads. So those are technically all tied for first because they were all, the 2 that were political was a surprise because I don't usually read those kind of books, and it was they're very good. And then again, The Soul of the Octopus was just a joyful audiobook, and it was just a great book. And then my least favorite book is, again, I don't have a copy at all because it's at the library, and that was Paperback Crush by Gabrielle Moss. Again, my biggest issue was I found out that I'm pretty much an 80s kid when it comes to teen fiction. I kind of knew that, but I was kind of hoping I knew more about this. And she didn't touch on a lot of the books that I read. And I mean, she touched on some major ones. And I did learn a lot of stuff about YA fiction over the years. But it just, I don't know. I felt like there was stuff missing. And I just felt, I was really hoping for a little bit more of, not so much an overview of stuff. I was looking for individual series. Like I wanted lists of series that were printed during that time so I could find stuff. Like I remember reading stuff, but I don't always remember their titles or their authors. And I wanted more of that, and I didn't get that. And that was just, maybe that's my opinion. Anyways, those are like the little stats. And then I'll just show you my little thing here. Now Cooper's in the way, so he's probably going to attack this. But I just want to show you my, oops, sorry. So this is my yearly so far. You can see my blues and greens and a couple purples in here. That means that they were really high on my ratings of how many pages I read. I already put in December. See, I kind of slowed down. But hey, it's perfect. There is not one black dot in November because I did not do any rereading, which is very unusual for me. I usually have at least a couple days, but didn't have any. And then, just to show you my November reading, just to show you graph-wise, how many pages per day I was reading. I was really, in the end, I kind of petered out because I was so tired. But I did a lot of reading this month. So, those are kind of all I have for now. So, hey, how was your guys' reading November? As I said, I read 18 things, and that is just phenomenal for me. I usually get between 6 and 10. 6 to 12, maybe, you know, it's mostly 6 to 10 is about average for me. It matters on how big the books are. But a lot of these books were fair-sized books. They weren't huge. They weren't super teeny. Some of them were. And, as I said, I think I missed the line. I did read 1 graphic novel. Did I say that? I don't even know if I did. But I did read 1 graphic novel, so there was that too. So, I don't know. I'm a little messed up. I'm tired. And, I'm done. So, anyway, I hope you guys had a great November read month. I hope your December is going really well. Mine's a little slower, but we're gonna we're gonna have fun anyway. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.